Namaste. Yesterday, a young man asked a question: how can one overcome Rahu Mahadasha? You can overcome the Rahu Mahadasha only when you overcome the negative qualities within you. If you are arrogant, if you have arrogance, if you want to show the importance of your money, if you are habitual of hurting others with your comments, then as soon as Rahu Mahadasha or Antardasha will begin, you will start suffering in your life. Just 2 days ago, a man had come for consultation. It seems that he had paid his fees and he is so much in rush, or after 3 days, he writes to me, I have paid my money and you can't give time to me. I told him, you just wait for 2 minutes. Within 2 minutes, I refunded his amount. Take this amount and get lost. These kind of people will suffer tremendously in their life. As soon as some bad Mahadasha will begin, Rahu, Shani, these kind of people will suffer a lot. For the simple reason that they have so much of ego of their money. I have paid money and you don't pay attention to me. He should remember that I am not selling tomatoes and potatoes here. You should understand where you are going, with whom you are talking. Whenever you approach an astrologer or a pandit or a guruji, please be careful. Don't show your money, else that same money one day will go away and you will start suffering in your life. So the more negative qualities you have within you, the more you will suffer in your Rahu Mahadasha. So the answer is that you don't have to overcome Rahu Mahadasha. You have to overcome the bad qualities within you. You have to overcome your arrogance, your ego. These are the main things that you should focus on when the Rahu Mahadasha is running or when you enter the Mahadasha of Rahu. Basically, what is Rahu Mahadasha? It is a time when you will be either punished for your desirous nature, or it is a time when you will get a free hand to have all your desires fulfilled, and then you will suffer tremendously. So this way or that way, at some phase of Rahu Mahadasha, you will suffer and there is no second thought to it. In this podcast, I have shared certain insights on how you can overcome Rahu Mahadasha. What is Rahu Mahadasha? Obviously, my sharing is only for those selective people who can understand the language that I speak. So let's begin. What is Rahu? It is your desire. What is Rahu Mahadasha? It is the free playground where now the batsman is Rahu. So people are telling you to do this and do that. It won't help. You cannot change the batsman. You cannot tell him to go back. You have to face the Rahu batsman. There is simply no escape. The more you try to escape from your karma, the more you would be chased. There is no escaping. Someday, sometime, and at some place, you would be caught clean bowled. Rahu is darkness. I remember when I was traveling in the US, I met an old friend and he was doing exceptionally well. Everyday parties and parties and parties. And he was just enjoying his life. Woman, pleasures, status, everything was at his feet. And you know what he was running through? He was running through the Mahadasha of Rahu. And he said to me, "See, Rahu loves me." I smiled and said, "Yes, overwhelmingly, but be careful." And then I left. After 4 years, I got a call at 2 a.m. and the same friend started crying. He said, "I am bankrupt. I don't know what to do." His rahudasha was over, and Rahu makes sure that whatever he gives you, he takes back. Now this friend is planning to come back to India. When there is nowhere to go, where will you go? But home, sweet home. The question is why this happens, and the answer is simple: ignorance. Rahu makes you blind. So Rahu may shower immense power and status to you during his Mahadasha, and you may start wondering, why was I fearful of Rahu when Rahu is such a goody friend? But that is just a trailer. The real picture starts soon, and when it starts, you are in for the greatest miseries of your life. A very reputed builder in Pune, who is now arrested for his misdoings, in an interview had mentioned that as soon as his Rahu Dasha began, he was arrested, tried, and finally imprisoned. Fear leads you to more miseries. Courage leads you to much happiness. A coward wants to escape. A courageous man wants to go ahead, experience, and come out as a more mature, more insightful man. And I want you all to become mature. I don't want my followers to remain fearful. I am not the astrologer you have been visiting. Astrologers who simply pump in so much fear within you that you lose all hope and you become more miserable than Rahu can make you. To my close followers, I tell, jump in the unknown, face bravely, and come out of it shining like a diamond. Rahu loves the fearful, the coward men. It makes his job much easier, but Rahu is hateful of those men who are courageous, who have so much courage that they would simply walk through the dark tunnel of Rahu with unwavering faith in the Lord, the Master. Walk by faith, not by sight. When you have unwavering faith, you will not fear. You will not doubt, you will jump into the unknown. The Master says, they say think twice before you jump. I say, first jump and then think as much as you want to. And Rahu trembles with the word faith. Rahu's main job is to pull a blanket of ignorance over your eyes, to make you completely materialistic, to make you totally intellectual, all brains but no heart. So when you take the Lord's name, when you are faithful, Rahu smells trouble. Then he says that this guy is something. Then you make Rahu run for his job, then the other way round. You see, just a small grain of faith can move the mightiest mountain. Then what the heck this black shadow called Rahu is? Rahu is temptation. Many temptations come when you are going through Rahu Mahadasha or Rahu Antardasha. Lots of sex, lots of power, lots of money, lots of properties. But if you are conscious, if your consciousness is more, then and only then can you face and overcome Rahu. A man of awareness, a conscious man simply looks into the eyes of temptation and defeats the temptation. Don't just run from temptation, look it in the eye and defeat it. Don't run from Rahu, that is temptation. Face Rahu with a courageous heart and defeat it by your unwavering faith, Shraddha and patience, Saburi. Sai Baba has given the greatest keys to mankind, keys that would help every man and woman to face the hardships of life, and the keys are faith and patience, Shraddha or Saburi. Remember, every time you defeat a temptation, you become more like Jesus, more like Buddha, more like Krishna, like Arjuna, like all the great enlightened men who have walked the talk. To achieve success in life, there is the need to face Rahu. But to understand this, one should first know what is success. If success is wealth, property, bank balance, power, sex, pleasures, then should we say that Donald Trump is successful and Jesus is not? Should we believe that Bill Gates is successful and Buddha is not? Should we accept that Ambani is successful and Sai Baba is not? Ponder on the questions that I have asked. They are of immense significance. Success is not based on your bank balance, property. These all are external factors. Real success is simply based on your self-growth. The real growth is in your spiritual growth. Someday you must read my book, Gift of Consciousness, to understand what real growth is. The day a man understands what real growth is, he understands what real success is. And the day he understands what real success is, he understands that to live a successful life, you need not be fearful of your own shadow, that is Rahu. Rather, face it with courage, with faith in the Lord's name, and to be patient. People are afraid of the dark, but unless you understand what darkness is, how would you know? How would you be able to appreciate the light? To realize the value of goodness, the value of virtue, you need to know, to experience the other side of life as well. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darkness of other people. And that is what rahudasha is. It makes you aware of your own darkness, your own shortcomings, your own foolishness, your own ignorance. And so it is only when you become aware of your dark side that you can start focusing on healing and come out as a fully transformed man, just the way an ugly caterpillar goes through the painful transformation, until a day comes when it is no more an ugly looking caterpillar, but a beautiful, colorful butterfly ready to fly. So experience life in all ways possible. Face and overcome Rahudasha with courage, faith, and patience. Remember, you are the child of God. You have the greatest power in the universe inside you. You can break any addiction and overcome any stronghold. You are a child of God. He is Father of your spirit. Spiritually, you are of noble birth, the offspring of the King of Heaven. Fix that truth in your mind and hold to it. However, many generations in your mortal ancestry, no matter what race or people you represent, the pedigree of your spirit can be written on a single line. You are a child of God. So stop fearing and start living. Life begins where fear ends. Rahu is the terrorist who banks on fear, and faith is the angel who rejoices in love. Be fearless, and you will be fearless only when you become more and more faithful. The answer to your fear of Rahu is not anywhere on the outside, but very much within you, and it is called faith. Faith can move mountains. Faith is not believing God can, but knowing He will. Swami Vivekananda quotes, "Only that man can believe in God who believes in himself." And these words are of great significance, my fellows. First, learn to believe in yourself, then you will believe in God. Then you will have no fear of Rahu. You will be simply walking through the period of Rahu, just like an innocent child walks through a garden, without realizing that it was not a garden, but a damn traffic jammed road with many disturbances. The message is to simply face Rahu with patience and faith. Faith is seeing light with your heart when all your eyes see is darkness. Although the world is full of suffering, it is also full of the overcoming of it. You can overcome Rahu only by facing the phase of Rahu with consciousness and courage. And that is possible only when you meditate. Spend some quality time with yourself. Turn inwards and meditate every day. Meditation is the only magic in the world and the only miracle. Meditation will give you a glimpse that the truth is inside you. This truth is your consciousness, and the closer you come towards the consciousness, the more better you would get in overcoming the dark shadow of ignorance called Rahu. The key to overcome Rahu is consciousness, and the light of consciousness can only be experienced when you start turning inwards and meditate by focusing on your heart. Heart meditation. Meditation is a journey towards the heart, for God dwells in your heart. Your heart is beautiful. What comes between you and your success is your mind. Tame the mind. Control the mind. Remember, you are not the mind. The nature of the mind is to wander. You are not the mind. You are the self. There is no God on the outside but within you. The Bhagwan says, self is the Guru. This self is your awareness, your consciousness. God is not on the outside but within you, and God is the ultimate fragrance of your consciousness. Turn inward, move towards yourself. Let the journey begin. Meditate. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Jai Sri Ganesha. Jai Guru. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha.